So could you share like, how you got started as a writer and just describe that experience when you started making money in that kind of space as well? Like I know it's a weird question to start off with, but talk about starting off as a writer and how you felt when you like first started getting that acknowledgement monetarily.
All right, bet. So, all right. So, am I talking about when I started, or when I'm talking about when I started making money? Because these are two very different answers.
You can give us the rundown of both. I mean, I want to hear both.
When I started, I couldn't pay a person to read what I was doing, but I felt like what I was doing was right. You know, I've done a lot of things in my life, and writing is one of the few things that felt right. And I was in a hospital, and a nurse gave me a book, and I was playing the short game. I was trying to get a phone number. She was playing the long game. She was trying to enlighten me. She's asking me what am I reading and all that, and I'm like, oh, I'm reading 48 Laws of Power, even though I wasn't, and even though like I feel like 8 out of 10 people who say they reading that book, they didn't, or they don't read, they just have it because it looks good for like the power bookshelf. But anyway, she made fun of me for that, which was cool. I didn't get the number, which was also cool, but I did get the book, and I wasn't necessarily what you would call a reader at the time. So the fact that I took that book from her, well, she left me that book. The fact that I finished it in like 2 to 3 days, it's like 300 some pages, was super fast for me. Like right now, I can read 300 pages in a couple of hours. At this particular time, couldn't do that. And the book was the coldest winter ever, and that book led to me reading a lot of other books. I wanted to know everything about Sister Soldier, and who influenced her. I wanted to know everything about the people who influenced them, and that just snowballed from me reading these street stories to reading stories about the streets from a different time period to me reading stories on the streets of Russia. You know what I'm saying? I'm tapped in with The Gambler and The Idiot by Dostoevsky, and that all
Yeah.
came from learning to love Toni Morrison, loving Sister Soldier, learning to love James Baldwin, and all of these different people that was telling these stories.
Yeah.
So this is like maybe I want to say at least a good 5 year period before I cash my first real check. Um, um, but what I will say about the money portion is writing, like art in general, it comes fast for some people, because we all have different definitions of fast. But I know for me, before I even published my first essay, there's 100 rejection stories in front of that. Before I got my first literary agent, there's over 500 rejection stories attached to that. Before I signed my first book deal, there's like another 4 or 5 years of people telling me no before someone actually said yeah. So it's always funny when I'm out in the world and people say things like, "Oh yeah, D Watkins, he popped up out of nowhere. He came up overnight," and it's like, "Nah, dog. Like I didn't come here overnight. I've been here. You just didn't know who I was. You didn't know what I was doing. But it doesn't mean I wasn't active, and it doesn't mean I wasn't trying, and it doesn't mean I was trying to become like a better artist and a better person every day."